The alarm bells rang through the space station orbiting Earth. Commander Jake Morrison ran down the metal hallway, his boots making loud sounds on the floor. Other people were running too. Everyone looked worried. "What do we have?" Jake asked. When he reached the command center, the room was full of screens showing space around Earth. People in uniforms sat at desks, typing fast and talking into headsets. "Sir, we have a contact," said Lisa Grant, the communications officer. She was young but very good at her job. "It's big. Really big." Jake looked at the main screen. A dark shape blocked out the stars. It was larger than any ship humans had ever built, much larger. "How big?" Jake asked. "About 50 times the size of our biggest ship," Lisa said. Her voice was quiet. "And sir, it's not like any ship we've seen before." Jake stared at the screen. The ship looked alive somehow. It had curves instead of straight lines. The surface seemed to move like skin. "Are they talking to us?" Jake asked. "Yes." "Sir, they sent a message about an hour ago. Dr. Price is looking at it now." Dr. Amanda Price walked into the command center. She was the best alien expert on Earth. She had studied every alien race humans had met. There were not many, but she knew them all. "Jake, you need to see this," Amanda said. She looked excited, but also scared. "The message is unlike anything we've received before." They went to a smaller room with just a few screens. Amanda pressed a button, and sounds filled the room. The sounds were strange, but somehow beautiful, like music mixed with words. "We've been working on translation for hours," Amanda said. "The computer finally got it. Listen to this." She pressed another button. A voice spoke in perfect English, but it sounded different, older somehow. "Greetings to the young race of Earth. We are the Kethver. We have traveled far to meet you. We come in peace and friendship. We wish to speak with your leaders. We wait for your answer." Jake and Amanda looked at each other. In the past 100 years, humans had met 12 alien races. Some were friendly, some were not. But none had ever sounded like this. "There's more," Amanda said. "They knew our language. They didn't need to learn it. They just knew it." "That's impossible," Jake said. "That's what I thought too. But they also sent information about themselves. Look at this." Amanda showed him pictures on the screen. The aliens were tall and thin. They had 4 arms and skin that changed colors. Their eyes were large and kind-looking. They wore simple clothes that seemed to be made of light. "They call themselves the Kethver," Amanda said. "According to their message, they're over 1 million years old as a species. They say they've been watching us for a long time." Jake felt cold. "Watching us? Not spying, just learning about us. They do this with all young races. They wait until the race is ready for contact. Then they come to offer friendship." "Why now?" Jake asked. "What makes them think we're ready?" Amanda smiled a little. "They say it's because we've learned to talk instead of fight. Most of the time, anyway. They've been impressed by how we've made peace with the other alien races we've met." Jake thought about this. It was true that humans had gotten better at making friends instead of enemies. After some bad mistakes early on, Earth's leaders had learned that talking was usually better than shooting. "What do they want?" Jake asked. "To meet with our leaders. They want to come to Earth. They say they have much to teach us and much to learn from us." Jake walked to the window and looked out at space. The alien ship was too far away to see with his eyes, but he knew it was there, waiting. "Sir, Lisa's voice came through the speaker. "We're getting another message." They hurried back to the command center. The same beautiful sounds filled the room, followed by the English translation. "We understand you must be careful. We are strangers to you. To show our peaceful intent, we send one of our own to your world. Ambassador Zethara will come alone in a small ship. If you agree, we will meet in 3 of your days." The room was quiet. Everyone was looking at Jake. As head of Earth's Diplomatic Security Division, the decision was his to make. At least the first decision. "Get me the president," Jake said. "And the UN secretary. This is too big for just us." 2 hours later, Jake stood in a room with the most powerful people on Earth. They had all seen the messages. They had all looked at the pictures. Now they had to decide. "The question is simple," said President Miller. "Do we trust them?" "They seem peaceful," said the UN secretary. "And they're giving us time to prepare. They're not rushing us." "Or they're very good at lying," said General Adams, the head of Earth's military. "A ship that big could destroy every city on Earth." "But why would they?" Amanda asked. "If they wanted to hurt us, they could have done it already. We couldn't stop them." Jake listened to them argue. He thought about all the alien races humans had met. Some had been honest from the start. Others had not. The problem was telling which was which. "I think we should meet them," Jake said finally. Everyone looked at him. "But we do it carefully. Full security, and we're ready for anything." The president nodded. "Send the message. Tell them yes." Lisa sent the reply. Within minutes, they got an answer. Ambassador Zethara would arrive at the space station in exactly 3 days. The message ended with words that made everyone feel a little better. "We thank you for your trust. We will work hard to earn it." Jake hoped they were telling the truth, because if they weren't, humanity was about to make the biggest mistake in its history. 3 days later, Jake watched a small ship approach the station. It was beautiful, like the big ship, but tiny. It moved through space like a fish through water. "Docking bay is ready," Lisa reported. "All security teams are in position." "Good," Jake said. "Let's meet our new friend." The ship landed softly in the docking bay. Jake and Amanda waited with 20 security guards. They all wore their best uniforms, but kept their weapons ready. A door opened in the side of the ship. Light poured out. Then Ambassador Zethara stepped into the docking bay. The alien was even more beautiful than the pictures had shown. Tall and graceful, with skin that shifted through colors like a rainbow. The 4 arms moved like a dancer's. The large eyes looked kind and wise. "Commander Morrison," the ambassador said in perfect English. "Dr. Price, I am honored to meet you." The voice was like music. Jake felt himself starting to relax. This creature did not seem dangerous at all. "Welcome to our space station, Ambassador," Jake said. "We're honored to meet you too." Zethara smiled. At least, Jake thought it was a smile. "I bring greetings from my people and from the Coalition of Peaceful Worlds. We have much to discuss." As they walked through the station toward the meeting rooms, Jake felt hopeful for the first time in days. Maybe, just maybe, humanity had found real friends among the stars. 3 weeks had passed since Ambassador Zethara arrived on Earth. The alien had moved from the space station to a special building in New Geneva, where the United Nations met. Every day brought new surprises. Commander Jake Morrison walked through the halls of the diplomatic center. He still couldn't believe how much had changed. The Kethver ambassador had shared more knowledge in 3 weeks than humans had learned in the past 50 years. "Jake, you have to see this." Dr. Amanda Price called from her laboratory. She sounded excited, like a child with a new toy. Entered the lab and saw Amanda working with a small device that glowed with soft blue light. On the table next to her were several other alien objects. All of them were gifts from Ambassador Zethara. "What is it?" Jake asked. "It's a medical scanner," Amanda said. "But not like anything we have. Watch this." She pointed the device at Jake. The blue light got brighter for a moment. Then a hologram appeared in the air above the scanner. It showed Jake's body, but not just the outside. Jake could see his heart beating, his lungs breathing, even his blood moving through his veins. It shows everything, Amanda said. And look at this part. It can tell me that you didn't sleep well last night, that you had coffee an hour ago, and that you're worried about something. Jake stared at the hologram. It was true. He hadn't slept. Well, and he was worried. But how could a machine know that? The ambassador says this is basic technology for them, Amanda continued. They use it like we use thermometers. But for us, this could change medicine forever. What else have they given us? Jake asked. Amanda led him to another table. Food production technology. They showed us how to grow plants that give 10 times more food using half the water. And this device here can clean polluted water instantly. Jake picked up the water cleaner. It was small enough to hold in one hand, but Amanda had tested it on the dirtiest water she could find. The device had made it perfectly clean in seconds. They're giving us everything, Amanda said. No conditions, no payments. They just want to help. Jake wanted to feel happy, but something bothered him. Why? He asked. Why help us so much? I asked the ambassador that same question yesterday, Amanda said. Zethara said it's what peaceful species do. They help younger races grow and learn. It's how the Coalition of Peaceful Worlds was built. Director Paul Harrison entered the lab. He was the head of the United Earth Federation Council and looked tired. He had been in meetings with the ambassador all morning. How did it go? Jake asked. Amazing, Paul said. And a little scary. The ambassador just offered to introduce us to 47 other alien species. All peaceful, all willing to share knowledge and trade. Jake felt that worried feeling again. 47 species? The coalition has been growing for millions of years, Paul said. They find young races like us and help them join. According to Zethara, we would be the youngest members, but they want us anyway. What's the catch? Jake asked. Paul looked at him strangely. What do you mean? There's always a catch, Jake said. Nobody gives away this much for nothing. Maybe. That's just human thinking, Amanda said. Maybe some species really are purely good. Dr. Kevin Ross walked into the lab. He was a military strategist who had been studying everything that Kethfer had shared. He looked even more worried than Jake felt. We need to talk, Kevin said. All of us, privately. They went to a secure room where no one could listen to their conversation. Kevin put several files on the table. I've been analyzing the Kethfer technology, Kevin said. It's incredible. More advanced than anything we've seen. But there's something strange about it. Strange how? Paul asked. It's too good, Kevin said. Look at these scans of their ship. The metal is stronger than anything we can make, but it's also alive somehow. The ship can repair itself, grow new parts, even change shape. That sounds wonderful, Amanda said. It is wonderful, Kevin agreed. But think about it. If they have technology like this, why do they need a coalition with other species? They could do anything they want by themselves. Jake felt cold. What are you thinking? I'm thinking that maybe the coalition isn't what it seems, Kevin said. Maybe it's not a group of equal partners. Maybe it's something else. Like what? Paul asked. Like an empire, Kevin said quietly. With the Kethfer in charge. Amanda shook her head. That doesn't make sense. Zethara is the kindest being I've ever met. The ambassador spends hours answering our questions, teaching us things, helping. U.S. solve problems. I know, Kevin said. That's what worries me. It's too perfect. Maria Santos, the security chief, entered the room. She looked upset. Sir, we have a problem, she said to Jake. I just got reports from my agents around the world. There are protest groups forming. People who don't trust the Kethfer. How many people? Jake asked. Thousands so far? Maybe more. They're calling themselves the Human Independence Movement. They think the aliens are trying to take over Earth. Paul sighed. I was afraid of this. There are always people who fear change. Some of their concerns aren't crazy, Maria said. They're asking good questions. Like why the Kethver knew our language before they met us. And why they've been watching us for so long without making contact. Jake thought about this. Those were good questions. Questions he had wondered about too. What do they want to do? Jake asked. Right now, just protest, Maria said. But their leader, a man named Carl Weber, is talking about stronger action. He says humanity needs to protect itself. From what? Amanda asked. The Kethver haven't threatened us at all. That's what makes some people nervous, Maria said. They're being too nice. Later that day, Jake met with Ambassador Zithara in the garden behind the diplomatic building. The Kethver loved Earth's plants and spent time there every day. The ambassador was tending to a flower bed, moving gracefully between the plants. The alien skin shifted to match the colors of the flowers, green for leaves, red and yellow for blossoms. Commander Morrison, Zithara said without looking up. You seem troubled today. I am troubled, Jake said honestly. Some of our people are worried about your intentions. The ambassador stood and turned to face Jake. The large eyes looked sad. I understand, Zithara said. Fear of the unknown is natural. We have seen it many times with young races. What happened to those other races? Jake asked. They learned to trust, the ambassador said. They joined the coalition and became part of something greater than themselves. They found peace and prosperity beyond their dreams. All of them? Jake asked. All of them, Zithara confirmed. The coalition has never failed to welcome a new member. We have never had conflict between member species. That should have made Jake feel better, but it didn't. It sounded too good to be true. How does the coalition work? Jake asked. Who makes the decisions? We make them together, Zithara said. Each species contributes according to their abilities. The older, more experienced species guide the younger ones. It is a family, Commander Morrison. A family among the stars. And the Kethver? We are the eldest, the ambassador said with pride. We help coordinate the coalition's activities. It is our responsibility to ensure peace and harmony. Jake felt that cold feeling again. The Kethver were in charge. They might call it guidance, but they were the ones making the real decisions. What if a species doesn't want to join? Jake asked. Zithara looked puzzled. Why would they not want to join? We offer only good things. Knowledge, technology, peace, protection from hostile species. But what if they said no anyway? The ambassador was quiet for a long moment. That has never happened, Commander. Once. A species understands what we offer. They always choose to join. Always? Always, Zithara repeated. That night, Jake couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the ambassador's words. Always. Every species always chose to join. That seemed impossible unless the Kethver were very good at convincing people. Or very good at making offers that couldn't be refused. Jake got up and went to his computer. He sent a message to Kevin Ross and Maria Santos. They needed to look more carefully at the Kethver's gifts. They needed to understand exactly what humanity was being offered. And they needed to figure out what would happen if humanity said no. Outside his window, Jake could see the lights of the alien ship in orbit. It was beautiful and peaceful looking. But it was also the size of a small city and more advanced than anything humans had ever built. Jake hoped the Kethver were as peaceful as they seemed. Because if they weren't, humanity was in terrible danger. The next morning brought news that made Jake's fears worse. 3 more Kethver ships had arrived during the night. According to the ambassador, They were just bringing supplies and more. Diplomats. But Jake noticed that the new ships had positioned themselves around Earth in a perfect triangle. If someone wanted to watch everything that happened on the planet, that's exactly where they would put their ships. Jake decided it was time to ask some harder questions, even if the answers weren't what he wanted to hear. The ceremony was supposed to be the greatest day in human history. Leaders from every nation on Earth had gathered in the main hall of the United Nations building. Cameras from around the world were broadcasting the event. Today, humanity would officially join the coalition of peaceful worlds. Commander Jake Morrison stood at the back of the hall, watching everything carefully. His security teams were positioned throughout the building. Even though the Kethver seemed peaceful, Jake never took chances. Ambassador Zethara stood at the podium, looking magnificent. The alien's skin glowed with soft gold light, and the four arms moved gracefully as Zethara spoke about friendship between species. Today marks a new beginning, the ambassador said. Humanity takes its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as partners in peace. The crowd applauded. Jake could see the excitement on people's faces. They believed they were witnessing the start of a golden age. Dr. Amanda Price sat in the front row, smiling. Next to her was Dr. Kevin Ross, who looked worried despite the happy occasion. Behind them sat Director Paul Harrison and other world leaders. The coalition has watched humanity grow, Zethara continued. We have seen your species learn to work together, to solve problems with words instead of weapons. You are ready to join us. More applause filled the hall. Jake touched his earpiece, listening to reports from his security teams. Everything seemed normal. As a symbol of this new partnership, Zethara said, I present this treaty to your leaders. When signed, it will guarantee humanity's place in the coalition forever. The ambassador held up a document that seemed to be made of light itself. The words glowed and shifted as Jake watched. It was beautiful, but something about it made him uncomfortable. President Miller walked to the podium to accept the treaty. The crowd stood and applauded louder. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for. That's when Jake saw the movement in the upper balcony. A figure in dark clothes was kneeling by the window, pointing something at the stage. Jake's training kicked in immediately. Sniper. Jake shouted into his radio. Upper balcony, east side? But he was too late. The shot rang out across the hall like thunder. Ambassador Zethara jerked backward, a hole appearing in the alien's chest. Blue liquid that must have been blood splattered across the podium. Screaming filled the hall. People ran in all directions, pushing and shoving to get away. Security guards rushed toward the stage, while others ran toward the balcony. Jake ran to the ambassador, pushing through the panicking crowd. Zethara lay on the floor, the beautiful skin turning gray. The forearms moved weakly. Get a medical team here now. Jake yelled. Dr. Amanda Price reached the ambassador first. She pressed her hands against the wound, trying to stop the bleeding. But Jake could see it was too late. The damage was too severe. Why? Zethara whispered, looking up at Jake with those large, kind eyes. We came in peace. I know, Jake said. I'm sorry. We'll find who did this. Remember, the ambassador said, voice getting weaker. We wanted only friendship. Those were Zethara's last words. The light in the alien's eyes faded, and the skin went completely gray. Amanda sat back, her hands covered. In blue blood, tears ran down her face. They killed an innocent being, she said, someone who only wanted to help us. Jake looked around the hall. His security teams had caught the shooter, a man in his 30s with wild eyes and an angry expression. But Jake's attention was drawn to something else. The treaty document was still glowing on the podium. But now the light was different. Angry. red instead of gold. "Sir," came a voice through Jake's earpiece. It was Lisa Grant from the space station. "The Kethver ships are moving." "All of them?" Jake felt his stomach drop. "Moving how?" "They're surrounding Earth. And, sir, we're picking up more ships coming out of hyperspace. Lots more." Jake ran from the hall, leaving the chaos behind. He needed to get to the command center immediately. As he ran, his radio crackled with more. "Bad news. Sir, the Kethver are broadcasting on all frequencies," Lisa reported. "You need to hear this." Jake reached the command center in 5 minutes. The main screen showed space around Earth. Instead of 4 Kethver ships, there were now dozens. They formed a perfect sphere around the planet. "Play the message," Jake ordered. The speakers filled with sound, but it wasn't the beautiful music they had heard before. This was harsh and angry. "People of Earth," came a voice that sounded like Zethara, but colder. "You have murdered our ambassador. You have shown that humanity cannot be trusted. We came in peace, and you answered with violence." Jake's blood ran cold. This wasn't going to end well. The coalition of peaceful worlds cannot allow such aggression to go unpunished, the voice continued. Humanity has proven it is not ready to join civilized species. You will be contained until you learn to behave properly. The message ended. Jake stared at the screen, his mind racing. Something was very wrong with this whole situation. "Get me Agent Tony Kim," Jake ordered. Tony was one of his best undercover operatives. He had been investigating the human independence movement. Tony's face appeared on a smaller screen. He was in a safe house somewhere in the city, but he looked scared. "Sir, we have a problem," Tony said. "I've been tracking the shooter and his group. They're not what they appear to be." "What do you mean?" "The man who shot the ambassador, his name is Carl Weber. He's been saying for weeks that the Kethva are dangerous. But here's the thing. He has technology that shouldn't exist." Jake felt that familiar cold feeling. What kind of technology? "Communication. Devices that can reach other star systems. Weapons that use energy instead of bullets. And, sir, I found out where he got them." "Where?" "From aliens," Tony said. "Not the Kethver. A different species called the Vorthek. They've been secretly contacting humans for months." Jake's mind reeled. Another alien species? Why hadn't they detected them? The Vorthek told Weber and his people that the Kethver are not peaceful. Tony continued. "They said the coalition is actually an empire that enslaves other species. They warned Weber that humanity was being set up. Set up for what?" "For exactly what just happened," Tony said grimly. "The Vorthek said the Kethver always do this. They pretend to be peaceful, then arrange for something to go wrong. When the young species does something that looks aggressive, the Kethvar use it as an excuse to take over." Jake felt sick. If this was true, then humanity had just walked into a trap. "There's more," Tony said. "The Vorthek gave Weber information about other species that joined the coalition. Sir, they don't exist anymore. Not as independent civilizations. They're all controlled by the Kethver now. Can you prove this?" "I'm trying, but Weber's group has gone underground. The Kethver ships are jamming most communications. I can barely reach you." Dr. Amanda Price entered the command center, still covered in the ambassador's blood. Behind her was Colonel Steve Wright from military intelligence. "Jake, we need to talk," Amanda said. "I've been examining Zethara's body." "What did you find?" "The ambassador wasn't entirely what we thought," Amanda said. "The medical scanner the Kethver gave us? I used it on Zethara after death. It showed things that were hidden when the ambassador was alive." "What things?" "Implants," Amanda said. "Advanced technology inside the body. And something else. The ambassador's brain had been modified. Parts of it weren't natural." Colonel Wright stepped forward, Dr. Price contacted me because of what she found. We've been analyzing all the gifts the Kethver gave us. None of them worked the way they claimed. How do you mean? Jake asked. The medical scanner doesn't just scan, Wright said. It also records and transmits data. Every time we used it, information about human biology was being sent to the Kethvar ships. Jake felt anger building inside him. They were spying on us. Studying us, Amanda corrected. Learning our weaknesses. The food technology they gave. U.S.? It doesn't just grow better crops. It changes the soil in ways that would make Earth's plants dependent on Kethver seeds. And the water cleaner, Wright added, leaves behind microscopic machines. After a few months of use, they could control our entire water supply. Jake slammed his fist on the table. We've been played. There's more, Amanda said quietly. I found something else in Zethara's body. A recording device. It captured the ambassador's final moments. Play it, Jake ordered. Amanda activated the device. Zethara's voice filled the room, but it was different now. Not the kind, musical tone they remembered. Phase 1 complete, the recording said. The target species has committed the required aggressive act. Proceeding to Phase 2. Containment and integration will begin immediately. The recording ended. The room was silent except for the hum of computers. It was all planned, Jake said finally. The assassination, our reaction, everything. The Vorthek were telling the truth, Amanda said. The Kethver aren't peaceful. They're predators. Jake looked at the screen, showing the alien ships surrounding Earth. Humanity had been tricked into a trap that had probably caught dozens of other species over millions of years. But the Kethver had made one mistake. They assumed humans would react like all those other species. They thought humanity would surrender when faced with superior technology and numbers. They were about to learn that humans were different. Jake opened a secure channel to the highest levels of Earth's government and military. It was time to activate protocols that most people didn't even know. The underground bunker was deeper than most people knew existed. Commander Jake Morrison walked through metal corridors that had been built in secret over the past 50 years. Few humans knew about this place, and even fewer knew what it contained. Admiral George Turner was waiting in the main operations room. He was a tall man with gray hair and hard eyes. Jake had worked with him before, but never on anything like this. Jake, glad you made it, Admiral Turner said. How bad is it up there? Bad, Jake replied. The Kethver have us surrounded. They're telling the world that we're dangerous and need to be controlled. Most people believe them. Of course they do, said Dr. Carl Johnson, who was working at a computer nearby. The Kethver have been studying human psychology for months. They know exactly what to say. Dr. Johnson was the head of a program that most people thought was just theoretical research. Jake was learning that many things he thought were theoretical were actually very real. Show me what we have, Jake said. Admiral Turner led him to a wall covered with screens. Each screen showed different information: ship movements, weapon systems, communication intercepts. The Kethver have 43 ships around Earth, Turner said. More arriving every hour. They're not just surrounding us. They're studying our defenses. What defenses? Jake asked. Our best ships are toys compared to theirs. Admiral Turner smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. That's what we want them to think. He pressed a button, and one of the screens changed. It showed a map of space around Earth, but this map was different from what Jake had seen before. There were symbols marking locations that should have been empty space. Jake, meet the real Earth Defense Fleet, Turner said. Jake stared at the screen. How many ships? 237, Turner said. All hidden, all waiting. Hidden. How? The Kethver scanners are incredibly advanced. Dr. Johnson looked up from his computer. Advanced, yes, but they're looking for the wrong things. They expect to find metal ships with nuclear reactors and chemical rockets. They're not looking for what we actually built, which is ships that don't exist until we need them, Johnson said. Quantum stealth technology. The ships are there, but they're shifted slightly out of normal space, invisible and undetectable. Jake felt hope for the first time since the ambassadors' death. How is that possible? We've been preparing for this day for decades, Turner said. Every time we met a new alien species, we learned something. Every piece of technology they shared, we studied and improved. They thought they were helping a primitive species. Actually, they were teaching us how to defend ourselves. Nicole Davis, an intelligence analyst, joined them at the screens. She was young, but had one of the sharpest minds Jake had ever encountered. Sir, I've finished analyzing the Kethfer communications, she said. You need to see this. She activated another screen. It showed intercepted messages between the Kethfer ships. They're not just here to conquer Earth, Nicole said. This is a test run for something bigger. They're planning to use the same technique on 57 other species over the next decade. Jake felt anger burning in his chest. 57 species? All species that have shown potential for technological advancement, Nicole continued. The Kethfer identify promising young races, then systematically trap and absorb them into their empire. How many species have they already absorbed? Jake asked. According to their own records, over 300, Nicole said. The Coalition of Peaceful Worlds is actually the Kethfer Empire. Every member species is controlled by them. Admiral Turner's face was grim, which means we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every species the Kethfer plan to conquer. Dr. Johnson stood up from his computer. I have more news. I've been analyzing the technology the Kethfer gave us. The medical scanners, the food systems, the water cleaners, they're all connected. Connected how? Jake asked. They form a network, Johnson explained. Once enough of their devices are spread across a planet, they can control everything. Food, water, even the air. They don't conquer species with weapons. They make them dependent, then take control gradually. Until it's too late to resist, Jake said. Exactly. But they made a mistake with us. They assumed we would trust them completely, like other species did. They didn't expect us to be suspicious and study their gifts. Nicole brought up another screen. There's something else. The Vorthek, the aliens who warned Carl Weber about the Kethfer. I've been trying to contact them. Any luck? Some. They're not a military species, but they've been fighting the Kethfer for centuries. They try to warn young species, but most don't listen. We're the first to actually believe them and prepare. Jake thought about this. Why do the Vorthek care? Why risk themselves to help us? Because the Kethfer destroyed their homeworld 2,000 years ago, Nicole said. The Vorthek are refugees. They've been running and hiding ever since, but they never stopped trying to prevent other species from suffering the same fate. Admiral Turner walked to the center of the room. Jake, there's something else you need to know. Something that changes everything. He pressed another button, and the largest screen showed a document marked Top Secret Omega Protocol. 50 years ago, after our first contact with aliens, some very smart people asked a question. Turner said, what if the aliens weren't as friendly as they seemed? What if first contact was actually first deception? Jake read the document header. Project Omega? A secret program to prepare for exactly what's happening now, Turner said. We've been building hidden defenses, studying alien weaknesses, and preparing for the day when humanity would have to fight for its survival. Dr. Johnson pulled up technical drawings on his screen. Every alien species we've met has shared technology with us. They thought they were helping. Actually, they were showing us their capabilities and limitations. We reverse engineered everything, Turner added. Then we made it better. Human engineering has one advantage over alien technology, which is we assume our enemies are smarter than us, Johnson said. So we build things to work, even when facing superior opponents. Alien species like the HFY have been dominant for so long, they've forgotten how to fight equals. Nicole Davis highlighted another section of her analysis. The HFY ships are incredibly advanced, but they have a weakness. Their biotechnology is all connected through quantum networks. If we can disrupt those networks, their ships become helpless. How do we disrupt quantum networks? Jake asked. Dr. Johnson smiled. With this, he showed Jake a device that looked like a small metal cube. It was covered with symbols that seemed to shift and change as Jake watched. Quantum virus, Johnson explained. It spreads through any quantum-connected system, causing cascading failures. The HFY's greatest strength becomes their greatest weakness. You built a virus that attacks alien technology? We built 12 different viruses, Johnson said, one for each type of alien technology we've encountered. The HFY virus is just the latest. Admiral Turner brought up a tactical display. Here's the plan. Our hidden fleet will attack the HFY ships while the virus spreads through their network. But Jake, this isn't just about Earth anymore. What do you mean? The virus won't stop with the ships around Earth, Turner said. It will spread through the entire HFY network. Every ship, every planet, every system they control. Jake understood. We're not just defending Earth. We're liberating every species the HFY have enslaved. 300 civilizations, Nicole said. Some enslaved for thousands of years. If this works, we free them all. And if it doesn't work, then humanity dies, Turner said simply. But at least we die fighting. Agent Tony Kim's voice came through the communicator. Commander Morrison, I have an update from the surface. Go ahead, Tony. The HFY are making their move. They're broadcasting to every city on Earth, demanding surrender. They're giving humanity 6 hours to submit to their protection. What's the public reaction? Mixed. Some people want to surrender. They're scared and think the HFY are too powerful to fight. But others remember that the HFY lied to us. They are ready to resist. Jake looked around the operations room. Everything humanity had built in secret was about to be tested against an enemy that had conquered hundreds of worlds. Admiral, how long until we're ready? 2 hours, Turner said. The fleet needs time to move into position, and Dr. Johnson needs to finish programming the virus. The HFY gave us 6 hours, Jake said. That leaves us 4 hours after we're ready. 4 hours to make them think we're helpless, Turner agreed. Let them get confident. Let them think they've already won. Dr. Johnson looked up from his computer. Jake, there's one more thing. Once we release this virus, there's no going back. It will destroy the HFY's ability to control other species, but it will also reveal all of humanity's hidden capabilities. Meaning? Meaning every alien species in the galaxy will know that humans are not the primitive, peaceful race they thought we were, Johnson said. We'll be seen as the species that brought down a million-year-old empire. Some will see us as liberators. Nicole added, others will see us as a threat that needs to be eliminated. Jake thought about this. Humanity was about to step onto a much larger stage, and not everyone would welcome them. That's a problem for tomorrow, Jake said. Today, we survive. The final hour had arrived. Commander Jake Morrison stood in the Surface Command Center, watching the countdown timer. Around him, world leaders waited in tense silence. On the main screen, the HFY ships hung in space like dark clouds of doom. 5 minutes until the deadline. reported Lisa Grant from her communications station. The Kethver are demanding an answer. President Miller looked at Jake. Are we really going to do this? Fight an empire that survived for 1,000,000 years? They've survived by picking on species that couldn't fight back, Jake said. Today they learn what happens when they pick the wrong target. Deep beneath the earth, Admiral Turner watched. His own countdown. Fleet Admiral Susan Bell stood beside him, her face calm, despite the magnitude of what they were about to attempt. All ships report ready, Bell said. 237 vessels in position. Dr. Johnson, how's the virus? Turner asked. Ready for deployment, Johnson replied. Once we release it into their network, it will spread to every Kethver system in the galaxy. This isn't just a battle, it's a revolution. On the surface, the Kethver broadcast their final message to Earth. People of Earth, your time has expired. You have chosen violence over peace. We will now demonstrate why the Coalition's protection is necessary. The largest Kethver ship began to glow. Energy weapons emerged from its hull, pointing toward Earth's major cities. They're charging weapons, Lisa reported. Energy readings are off the charts. Jake opened his communicator to Admiral Turner. Now would be good, Admiral. Turner nodded to Fleet Admiral Bell. Execute Omega Protocol. All ships, this is Admiral Bell, she broadcast to the hidden fleet. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for every species the Kethver have enslaved. Remember, we are the weapon they never saw coming. Attack! Space around Earth suddenly filled with ships that had been invisible moments before. The quantum. Stealth fields dropped, revealing humanity's secret fleet. Each ship was sleek and deadly, built with 50 years of alien technology and human engineering. The Kethver ships reacted with shock. Their formation, so confident and overwhelming moments before, suddenly looked vulnerable. What is this? Came a broadcast from the Kethver fleet commander. Where did these ships come from? Captain Bill Stone, commanding the lead human vessel. U.E.'s Freedom, answered on an open channel. We're the species you tried to conquer. Surprise. The battle began immediately. Human ships moved with precision and purpose, their weapons targeting the Kethver vessel's most vulnerable points. But the real attack wasn't the weapons fired at Dr. Johnson. Release the quantum virus. The virus spread through the Kethver network. Like wildfire. One by one, their bioships began to malfunction. The living hulls that could repair themselves suddenly started attacking their own systems. Weapons that should have destroyed human ships instead turned on each other. It's working, Johnson reported from the bunker. The virus is spreading faster than expected. Their ships are losing power. But the Kethver weren't finished. The largest ship, apparently immune to the virus, began a desperate attack on Earth itself. A massive energy beam lanced toward New York City. Captain Stone's ship intercepted the beam with its shields, but the impact sent the human vessel spinning out of control. All ships protect Earth, Admiral Bell commanded. Whatever it takes. The human fleet swarmed the Kethver flagship. Their weapons, designed using alien technology, but improved with human creativity, began to penetrate the bioship's defenses. Inside the Kethver ship, the crew was experiencing something they had never felt before. Fear. For 1,000,000 years, they had been the predators. Now they were the prey. The ship's commander, a being called Vorthan, opened a communication channel to Earth. This is impossible, Vorthan said. You are a primitive species. How do you have such technology? Jake answered from the surface command. Center, because you taught us. Every gift you gave us, every piece of technology you shared, we studied and improved. You thought you were deceiving us, but you were actually training us. The Coalition will not allow this rebellion to succeed, Vorthan threatened. More ships will come. The full might of our empire will crush you. I don't think so, Jake said calmly. Dr. Johnson, how's the virus spreading? It's reached the Kethver homeworld, Johnson reported with excitement. Their entire network is collapsing. Ships across the galaxy are losing power. Jake smiled. Vorthan, your empire is finished. Right now, 300 enslaved species are watching their chains break. Your ships are dead in space. Your control systems are failing. It's over. The Kethver flagship was taking heavy damage. Its biohull was dying, infected by the quantum virus. Vorthan made one last desperate attempt. If we cannot have Earth, then no one can. The Kethver commander screamed. The ship began to glow brighter, preparing to self-destruct, but human ships were ready for this too. Captain Stone, his vessel badly damaged but still fighting, rammed his ship into the Kethver flagship's reactor core. The explosion destroyed both ships, but it also prevented the Kethver from destroying Earth. Across space, the remaining Kethver ships were surrendering or fleeing. Their biotechnology, so advanced and seemingly invincible, had become their weakness when turned against them. In the bunker, Nicole Davis was monitoring communications from across the galaxy. Sir, we're getting signals from everywhere, she reported to Admiral Turner. Species that have been enslaved for centuries are declaring independence. The Kethver Empire is collapsing. On the surface, Jake received a message from Agent Tony Kim. Commander, the Vorthek are broadcasting to the entire galaxy. They're telling everyone what really happened here. How humanity freed all the enslaved species. Jake felt tired but satisfied. What's the reaction? Mixed, Tony said. Some species are grateful. Others are scared of us now. They realize that if we could bring down the Kethver, we could probably handle anyone. Dr. Amanda Price, who had been monitoring the situation from her laboratory, joined Jake in the command center. The medical data is interesting, she said. The Kethver weren't evil in the way we understand it. They genuinely believed they were helping other species by absorbing them into their empire. They thought independence was a form of suffering. That doesn't excuse what they did, Jake said. No, it doesn't, Amanda agreed. But it explains why they were so shocked when we fought back. They couldn't understand why we would choose freedom over safety. President Miller approached Jake. Commander, what happens now? The Kethver Empire is gone, but that leaves a power vacuum in the galaxy. Hundreds of species suddenly free after millennia of control. Jake looked at the main screen, which now showed space around Earth. The Kethver ships were gone, but human. Vessels patrolled the area. In the distance, ships from other species were approaching, some friendly, some unknown. Now we do what humans do best, Jake said. We adapt. We learn. We help those who want help, and we defend ourselves against those who see us as a threat. Admiral Turner's voice came through the communicator. Jake, we're getting a message from the freed species. They want to form a new coalition. A real one this time, based on equality instead of domination. They're asking if humanity wants to help lead it. Jake thought about this. Humanity had just gone from being the newest species in the galaxy to being one of the most powerful. That brought opportunities, but also responsibilities. Tell them yes, Jake said, but on one condition. No species gets absorbed or controlled. Everyone stays free to make their own choices. Dr. Johnson's voice joined the conversation. Jake, there's something else. The quantum virus we released, it didn't just free the enslaved species. It also revealed the locations of other empires, like the Kethvar. Dozens of them, scattered across the galaxy. Jake felt a chill. Other empires? The galaxy is full of predator species, Nicole added. Most of them have been avoiding each other, each controlling their own territory. But now they all know about U.S. They know we brought down the Kethver. Some will want to make friends, Amanda said. Others will want to destroy us before we become too powerful. Jake looked around the command center. Humanity had won its first galactic war, but he realized it probably wouldn't be the last. Then we better get ready, he said, because the galaxy just learned that humans don't make good prey. Now let's make sure everyone knows we don't make good enemies either. Admiral Turner appeared on the main screen, his expression serious but proud. Jake, the new coalition is forming. 300 species, all free for the first time in centuries. They're looking to us for guidance on how to stay free. What do we tell them? The truth, Turner said. Freedom isn't free. It requires constant vigilance, preparation, and the will to fight when necessary. The Kethver taught us that. Now we pass that lesson on. Jake nodded. The innocent days of human diplomacy were over. Humanity had revealed itself as a species capable of bringing down galactic empires. That would make them many friends, but also many enemies. The Envoy had come in peace, but their death had triggered something the galaxy had never seen before. The rise of a species that refused to be conquered. As Jake watched the stars through the command center windows, he knew that humanity's greatest adventures were just beginning. They had won their freedom, but now they had to prove they deserved. To keep it, the galaxy was watching. And humans, as always, we